Good evening and welcome to the committee meetings and board meeting of the Putnam County Industrial Development Agency. Today is Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. And quick roll call. We have Ben, let's use the roll call for the full board. Bill Novus, the chairman, I'm here. Ed Cook, here. Ben is not able to make it tonight, he's not here. Joe Downey.
Here.
Abby O'Brien is here. Simon Carey.
Here.
And Mike Carlson's not here. Mike Lewis, our chief financial officer, wasn't able to make it. I'm going to ask for a motion to table again the minutes of the board for the last, September, November, December, January, and February, because we're still getting them formatted properly, but I think we're almost there again. That's pretty darn close. So,
Motion to table the
okay,
minutes.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer's report. The good news is we have money, more money than we've had since we started in this era. And that's because we got the closing for the first segment of the Brewster Industrial Owners Project. Again, if you'll remember that we authorized the first segment of it so that they could proceed, but they don't have a pilot at this point, and that's being negotiated until it gets the approval of all the taxing entities. But with the Brewster Industrial Owners Project, we put in $183,318. It was accrued.
Somebody.
And it's carefully watched so that we can use it for our expenses. As we all know, that we go through about $40,000 a year in just fees that it takes for compliance, payment of things like that. So
Training,
training,
support.
yeah, all of that. So our expenses are generally somewhere in the $40,000 to $50,000 a year range, and that's not doing anything. And so finally, after 5 years, we're now doing stuff, and we've been allocated and asked for and got an allocation of $40,000 for 2023 from the county, but I don't expect we're going to use it this year, and that's our goal, is to say thank you, please consider us again next year, because we like to know that we've got something in reserve, but we won't use it.
For argument's sake, say we have 240 and they're gonna have 240,000. So basically, we have 6 years worth of operating funds. If our expenses don't go up, would we still take 40,000 from the county each year?
No, we would not. No, we would, and that's in the past. We've had that where we've had some income in 2017 and 2018,
right.
And in those years we didn't take any money from the county.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that's important for the taxpayers to know that we're not.
It's all volunteer board. There's no
Yeah.
salaries being paid.
Yeah,
So.
but it's good to know that we won't have to take any from the county.
right. So
Self-sufficient, hopefully. Yeah.
thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, thank you.
And just we have again a holding account for the Glenida Distillery project. I tried to get an update on that. Again, where we stand is, last I heard, is they want to do something hopefully in the first half of this year. They have to update their application because it's basically a different project now. They closed part it down a bit, but they're still looking forward to doing it, and it's very important to the county, and they've gone through most of the planning in the town of review it and see whether or not it is worth the benefits that we'd like to be able to give them, I think, are worth it. And Braemar Holding, again, we've authorized them. We're waiting for them to do the closing, and I'm waiting for their attorney to let us know that their closing documents are prepared and they're ready to sign off and get the thing, put a shovel in the ground. And just so you know, part of our fun and games over the last month and for a while has been getting QuickBooks online, and recently Putnam County Savings Bank changed their systems, and so there was some realignment that had to be done there, so that was part of.
Mr. Chairman, at this
Yes.
point, I'd like to close temporarily the regular meeting because we have some board members that have obligations outside of this.
Okay,
And get to the voting items and then reopen the general meeting.
okay.
Can I have a motion for, or can you ask for a motion for that?
Motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second it?
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Good, let's do that. What we wanted to look at is the omnibus resolution is the only one that we really are looking at.
All right.
Here.
Ben Shea is excused, Mike Carlson is excused, William Nuck.
I'm here.
He's here, yeah, obviously. Michael Lewis is not here tonight with and Terry Wabeda is here, and Michael Stevenson is here. All right, so, that the Board of Directors of Putnam County Industrial Development Agency, in compliance with the transparency requirements of the New York State Budget Authority's Office, does hereby reaffirm upon review and recommendation of the Governance and Audit and Finance Committees and adopt the following effective for 2023. The agency bylaws, the uniform tax exemption and operations report, the Board of Directors' duties and responsibilities, the Code of Ethics, conflict of interest, internal control policy, investment policy, policies governing the use of the authority of discretionary funds, procurement policy, property disposition policy, recapture policy, the 2021-2022 audit, submission of all documents as required by parish for the year 2022, the whistleblower protection policy, the Putnam IDA workforce policy, Putnam County First policy, submission of the 2022 parish report. The board further resolves that the agency will comply with the laws and amendments as enacted in its operations and practices. The website post as follows. So for the omnibus resolution number 2023-3-21-1, can I have a motion to adopt that meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Joe Downey, can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Simon Carey. So for a roll call vote, Simon Carey.
Aye.
Ben Shea, absent. Ed Cook, aye. Joe Downey.
Yes.
Mike Carlson, absent. William Nook
Aye.
and Abby O'Brien. All right, I'd like to
And
take a motion to,
it can be attested by
Yeah,
our
Abby.
recording secretary.
I'd make a motion at 6:29 to close the governance meeting.
Second.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody with a question on that motion? All right, motion carried.
Good.
Joe, you want to sign?
Simon did.
No, you should get, we have the sign resolution.
All right,
Huh?
Sign
Okay.
resolution, Abby.
Abby can sign it too.
I got it.
and then,
Yeah.
are we gonna do the audit? Ben is not here.
Ben is not here.
Do we have a resolution?
There is no resolution other than the fact that we were going to review it and recommend adoption. So that's what we,
Can this be, is this timely or can we table it?
do we want to hold a meeting in any event? And then that way it saves
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we, since we have a quorum, and we're a volunteer board, that we can continue with the audit committee meeting.
Okay. I'll take the chairman's spot
Alright.
there, and just,
You can sign on it, it's fine.
okay, we have opened the audit committee at, what it is,
6:30.
6:30, and the same people here. Ben Shea is absent, but Bill Noak will be taking the chairmanship over that. Joe Downey is here, Abby O'Brien is here, Simon Carey is here, Ed Cook is here. Mike Carlson is not here. Mike Lewis, our chief financial officer, is not available tonight. Terry Waveda, our compliance consultant, is here, and Mike Stevenson is here. We have reviewed the agency readoption for the final compliance documents. We have received the draft document of the financial audit and looked it over, and at this point, it appears to be correct. We will do some further study, but if the board agrees to it, or the committee agrees to it, if everything is proper, based on our chief financial officer's assessment, then I move that we go ahead and, well, I recommend that we go ahead and accept.
So I'll
the
make a
draft.
motion to agree with
Well-
the compliance officer's findings on
Yeah.
the audit report.
Yeah, the committee just recommends for the full board,
Right.
yeah. Okay. And we were gonna have a presentation on agency fees, which we will get in a later date. One of our legal consultants, Dan Birmingham, has agreed to, as part of his constituent membership, to go ahead and give us his findings as what other fees are in other agencies. And he's also going to give us a review of our uniform tax exempt policy, which ironically, he is also the author of it at this point. He's the one that did it back in 1999. So at a later date, he was prepared to do it today, but he got called away, so he couldn't do it. But you're looking forward to making that presentation. And that's what I have for that. Anything else? Without any other comments, then I ask for a motion to adjourn the governance, or the audit committee.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
6:32.
All in favor?
Oh,
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to reopen the regular course of business.
Okay, I second it. All in favor?
aye.
And moving right along. Let's go to full board. Here we are. We had already given the financial reports. And we've just taken a look at the committee meetings. We have adopted the omnibus resolution 2023-3-21-1 after a proper discussion of the different policies. I'm assuming that everybody did at some point over the last month take a look at the documents that were on the website. Okay. So having done that, moving on to the next thing is we definitely need some help, administrative help. We signed that. As chairman, I will ask if anybody has any experience in hiring people, and you can come up with a plan, then I would like to hear it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm preparing two documents. One is all the things that have to happen on a monthly basis.
Okay,
And then of what has to be done, the tasks that are related to those. So
okay,
that we can develop the kind of, the person that we want, a part-time person.
okay, that would be
Take on
important in the interview
administrative.
process.
Try to make it very, very clear of what those
Okay.
responsibilities are.
So,
And I'll do it with the compliance, and then you can look at it in terms of doing the filing and stuff in the office. That could be floating.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, well, then I will take a look at that. And I also, I was offered help from the county personnel department. So if we put together something, a list of the things that were, the categories and items that we're looking for, maybe we can get some direction from them also as to how, whether we advertise, outside or inside the county. I mean, inside the county organization, but see what we can
Within the
find.
county, right.
But definitely in the county.
Do we have a quantity of approximate hours, Terry, that you think it might, how many hours a week you might think it might be?
Well, I'm gonna go by what we did in Newburgh, because that was a part-time office. And I'll talk to the woman who did all that. She worked probably 3 Mondays out of 4, because there are times when there's not much going on. And phone calls can always be, directed, but the issue is that
16
someone
weeks
who knows what the
20
market is has to look at the tax
24,
and what that
24
hourly
hours or
rate
something like that a month.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, because some of the time also includes being at the meetings and taking
Yeah,
the
minutes
reports and
all
minutes
of
and
that.
stuff like
And
that.
doing all of everything that Bill is doing, the administrative assistant.
So between 24 and 30 hours a month?
That's
It should be-
probably 20 to 24.
No. No,
You think it's less?
yeah, I'll come up with that, I think it's less.
Well,
Well,
based
again-
on what has to be done
But
initially,
remember,
based on initially, I think we could review that down the road,
yeah,
but I think
during
the 20,
summer, there's like nothing goes on during the summer. A lot, in August, you should make a policy that August, that there's, most IDAs do nothing in August unless they have to, so that you have a free month. Because you come in September and you have to do the 5-year budget, and that starts. But it's a lot of even the big these medium-sized agencies where there's a lot of staff will kind of close down for August.
And what about getting the receipts on the job sites, the AT401s and things like that?
The what?
The receipt for sales tax exemption?
That is part of the calendar. The first 3 months are very busy because you want to get done by March 31st, and we'll have a package. I'll prepare a package of what the letters are that goes out and what we ask for. I have some of the information here, but again. At best, we'll have just ACE, Broadreach is out, and we'll have the 3 new projects. So that's not impossible to handle. And then, but you have to start early. And again, what we'll have is there's a set of letters. The letters don't change. You just change the dates and stuff.
someone that could follow the calendar would be a big help to me, because
Yeah.
that's part of my issue is, I'm always chasing the calendar as opposed to following the calendar,
Yeah, and this way, in terms of the chair just has to check that certain things are being done
Right.
on a monthly basis.
This is something also we could do on April 11th, if we go to that meeting, is talk to other people and see how they,
Well,
They handle.
that agenda is going to cover some of the best practices. I think we're going to talk about the UTAP, because I have the mailing ready for the UTAP
right,
to go to every taxing entity. It is a certified mail, so we just have to, I have some language of what other communities have put in the UTAP.
right.
The new law, which was in the governor's budget several years ago, requires that IDAs will fund alternative energy and can provide a pilot
that the
Yeah,
public is
something
gonna,
that
gonna work with,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
so. Okay, anyway, that's, we've got our work cut out for us there.
I can,
Then-
I'll work it out for you.
I know that we have to go, have you been sworn in yet? And,
I'm just trying to think, because I have to sign in for my planning board one
The-
too.
Last year or this year, we did.
last year, you went to
Yeah, to
the
the
county clerk's office and got sworn in, okay. That's, so that needs to be
Yeah, I
done,
did. I think I did.
okay. And that needs to be on record, and I can check with Jamie Sprague and make sure that,
Yeah, like I said,
what was it? Come on, Bill, you got it. What, the audit, oh, and the fiduciary responsibilities. We'll set it up,
They should get that.
yeah, that has to be signed every year?
Yeah. Now,
No,
only when they're.
only when they're sworn in,
Yeah, you don't have to keep doing it.
okay.
no, they hit you every year with that, Terry.
Well, they hit us with a,
It's the same
actually,
person.
every other year, they hit us with a financial update,
Disclosure.
disclosure, which is different than the financial responsibilities.
Okay.
And
so-
then it also has to be filed with the Department of State. I'm trying to get that address.
Okay,
I have an old address of somebody in that department.
So- this is part of the bookkeeping that needs to be kept up to speed. Okay, we're finishing up the final financial audit for 2022. Like I say, we've got a draft. It looks fairly complete. We're just waiting, I think, for one other thing, and have it confirmed, and then we'll be ready to go. We do have to put together an RFP for the next 3 years, and send that out to different auditing companies. Again, I'm very comfortable with O'Connor Davies. The only thing they have to do is change their lead accountant, which is part of the requirements, I guess, actually in the accounting industry more than anything. And that's that. IT support and website operations. Okay. Mike, you get to talk to us at this point. But what do we need to get everything put together and brought up to speed? We'll probably learn some things at this April meeting if we go there, but to make our website, if not better than, at least as good as many of the other agencies have. Make it user-friendly, make it understood, make it bill-friendly.
According to Walden, on the sheet that we got from Terry, there's like certain things that have to be done on the website or have to be reported. And it's important to get it at a reasonable time frame. So we usually have about 30 days or so to really put what needs to be on the website. So, any meetings, minutes, things of that nature need to be on the site promptly. So I could really use some help with getting those documents in on time, because when I first started, that was one of the issues. The IDA had was a lot of
There were a lot of missing
there were
documents.
a lot of missing documents or broken links,
Yeah.
and we had to address those, and we have addressed those. But my concern is I don't want to look backwards. We were finally in a good space and moving forward. So I just want to make sure that we continue to move forward on that.
Not-
There were other small issues.
Well, not to put the pressure on you, but if you could get the website link, the video, on the website fairly quickly, then we can go and, I know that I could look at it, if we're having a problem, and I shouldn't be doing this, but, I could create a the minutes real quick, and it makes it easier for whoever is doing the minutes to be able to do the minutes, because there it is. Now, we were discussing how it's posted there and whether you can go back and forth on it. And, you know, I don't know how it works.
The way that we're gonna do it going forward is it will still be live streamed on Facebook, but it will also be available via YouTube. That YouTube URL will be used for the website.
Good,
For ease of
okay.
access.
Okay, so you can go back and forth then on it.
Yeah.
And good, that's perfect. If that is not inconvenient for you, you know, if that can be up within a week of the meeting, that would make things real easy, I think, for everybody.
We could also buy a digital recorder, and she could record the meeting and play it at her leisure as well.
If it's on YouTube, you know, or wherever fairly quickly, then I can go through it and have them and drop them into the Dropbox, and then you can get them onto the website. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
This
Well,
isn't
Ben was
a-
gonna help you with
No,
that, right? Ben was gonna help with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just with the way that it's uploaded, it's there. It's just you're unable to, if you try to go back 10 seconds, you have to go all the way back to the beginning, remember how many seconds you were, try to move the sliding bar. Whereas with YouTube and things like that, you can rewind 5 seconds. There's a button that does it's like a little more user friendly for when you're trying to go
Okay.
back and forth. And you know, it's just I think it's better
Yeah.
too for everybody who doesn't have Facebook or things like that. They can get it there. It's not that it's not there. It's there. But
Well,
okay.
and then before the 31st, we have to get everything that Paris asked for. There has to be the URL. So you have to go through all of the minutes and stuff that if you hit it, that you can get to where it is.
So the way that it's set up is that is 100% true. And right now, with the previous videos, you can do that. So if somebody were to look, or one of the auditors were to look, they are able to click on and see the video without a problem.
Okay.
Internally, the issue is that when they're seeing the video and they're trying to go back to authenticate what was said, they're having issues with going backwards because they would have to re-look at everything all over again in order to do
Yeah.
that, which is a hassle.
Well, I don't need to do, we just need to have a place, we need to have somewhere in there the instructions of how to see the meetings.
yeah, they're there. It's just like it's like a user, like
Right.
an ease of using the thing. It's there.
Okay.
We're just trying to make it easier to use. But I think the way it's up there is absolutely.
Well, what I'll do is I'll as I'm going through it, I'll try to I'm gonna be working on that,
So we could have the date
yeah.
and then IDA meeting with the YouTube link and a clickable link.
Correct. On the website, it just says recording. You click on the recording and you can see the recording.
Right,
yeah,
And it's based off of the date of that meeting.
right.
So that does exist. Again, I think it's more of an internal user-friendly type of issue that we're having here. Is we're just trying to make it more user-friendly so that people don't run into issues, especially internally when we're trying to get these documents a little bit quicker.
yeah.
So we're live streaming Facebook and we're gonna use YouTube as the URL that people can click for the individual meetings.
Correct. People will be able to click on the URL. That'll take them to YouTube, which is a lot easier and more user-friendly.
Perfect,
Thank
okay. Good, so that's what we need. And so we're working on getting our documents put together and everything will be hunky-dory, hopefully. Status of current projects. Braemar, like I said, we're just waiting for the closing documents so that we can have a closing. They should be ready to go. They've been authorized and it just takes sitting down and signing all the documents so that the necessary forms for sales tax exemption and lining up everything properly for the pilots and things like that can be done. The Brewster Industries owners, if you remember, we authorized that. That closing has been done. Dan Birmingham continues to be our attorney for the project. I will be going and addressing the Brewster School Board next month to help explain the deviation that they're trying to get. And if they don't accept that concept, then it's up to the Brewster attorneys, Brewster industrial attorneys, to negotiate with the school board and come up with an acceptable pilot arrangement. And they'll have to live with that, and that'll be the one that we go with. It will not be anything more than what we've already proposed.
Anything less, anything less.
What?
They can't lower what we already.
Yeah, they won't create a more beneficial
Right.
pilot, yeah.
To be-
Okay, and so we'll look forward to doing that. Again, as I just said previously, Glenida Distillery, they've indicated they're just about ready to begin, but they have to submit a new application so that we can review that properly and make all the necessary incentives. The expansion of Ace Indico, if you haven't looked, the building's already up, and I don't know how far along they are on the inside. But I think that they're going, and having just heard and talked with people and stuff like that, they're looking forward to late next year or the beginning of 2025 for the next major expansion. So that's going. I talked with Shelley Nishani, who's the owner, principal of the Comfort Inn in Brewster, because the committee, the Economic Development Committee, tomorrow night is going to be discussing, among other things, one franchise hotel in all of Putnam County. You know, don't start taxing that yet. Why don't you wait until there's some hotels and then put it in? I think their bigger issue, which is they're going to be talking about also, is Airbnbs and Vrbo and those kind of places, and get them under some kind of control where they can, have to register, and then there'll be some kind of control for the health department, at least making sure that they're under control and things like that. So there's other issues, and hopefully they won't pick on our lone hotel at this point. Rooster Plastics. Today I received a notice that they have been officially, the entities that are involved with Rooster Plastics have been told that the county is foreclosing on them. They have until June 20-somethingth to comply, at which point they will go ahead with the foreclosure. And as you're aware, by contractually, we're not obligated because we're the owners of that property, at least on paper. So if the foreclosure goes through the way I understand it, then the county will take over it, and any of the pending things then will fall to the people that are in the next level down, if they're going to try and do any recuperating from whatever the fund is. So we'll have to see how that plays out. The Envision Brewster is, you're talking louder and rumbling more about coming to us. Only certain aspects of the Envision Booster project would be eligible for IDA benefits, but they're looking into those aspects and those aspects of it, and see whether or not, that have been turned upside down and backwards, and we may have to.
Home rule.
Yeah, we may have to wait until after the budget process in Albany is taken care of before we can figure out exactly what's happening there. But I haven't had anybody talk to us from there.
Joe Carter, he's right now he's wrapped up in a few other projects.
Okay.
He has a couple sound stages. He's moving in Kingston on an iPark.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
The again, the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival folks, Megra.
The Hudson Valley Shakespeare Group is a not-for-profit. If we had an LGC and they could find somebody to buy bonds, we could do grounds with the
Snake Hill on Route 9.
Southbound on the left or the right?
Right.
down
Sorry,
the
not on the
South
right.
on the right,
on the
west
yeah.
side, west side.
Yeah,
There was a golf club
Yeah.
yeah,
where that is?
right.
Okay.
And Magara is looking across from Flory's on, what is that?
Bryant
The Bryant Pond Road.
Well, they're not looking there so much anymore because that property is tied up with all kinds of pollution issues. And I was talking with Jackie and Abby. One of the problems is the guy that owns the property thinks it's worth a gazillion times more than it's worth. And so he's not coming down. And the other part of the property, one of the other properties further along there, is just not developable for that kind of a project. It's just, it would involve too much road work, and the sides of the roads is swamp and stuff like that. It's the topography isn't right. So that's, and that's pretty much what I've got. Terry, you got anything additional?
Ed, would you like to make a motion that we move forward with getting a RFP for the?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we get a RFP for a compliance firm to help enforce the labor policy.
Labor policy, yes.
Can you get names?
Right now, there's one firm that does it, and then we just have to put a public bid out. The same
Well,
firm.
Frank can give us some direction on that.
Right. There's so far White Plain, the Westchester County, City of Yonkers, Rockland IDA, and Orange County IDA uses the same firm because that's the one that has the expediency and experience in doing it. But we could put out a public RFP and see who could.
Putnam names, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, get a couple of Putnam companies that might be interested in
Right.
taking
Like
on that kind of
Brady,
thing.
oh, yeah, Brady does
Okay.
that kind of work.
Right.
Watson and
Do
Brady.
we have a second for that motion?
What would their description be? Like,
I'll-
if we hire someone,
I'll-
what would they actually
They-
I'll
want to do?
print that out for you.
Well, they would go. They would enforce. They'd make sure that the contractor is in compliance with keeping on-site documents for the worker verification for
Right.
their OSHA 10 cards. They'd be having the sales tax and laden of goods for the project on site, and they'd be following adhering to the labor policy. Us as individual board members have the right to spot inspect any IDA project, and make sure that they're in compliance and offer them a remedy through the chairman, in written correspondence to make sure that they're complying outside of the compliance auditor.
So the compliance auditor would be active only during the build,
Correct.
not, like, for instance, Brewster,
Post, annually they check for the life of the pilot, how many jobs are created, how many
Yeah.
real jobs
Okay.
are created, how many ancillary jobs are created,
It's
to make sure they're.
much of the work that Terry has to, ask them for, they would be able to go and say, hey, I need these numbers from you.
Right.
And
Well, we need the construction jobs that they.
you need the construction done, but you also need them after
But-
construction
and-
also.
And every time we do that, the projects scratch their head because they have someone else doing that. Now they're gonna be on notice. What we're also going to have to do, because I talked to Dan Birmingham about this, is that we've got to organize early on, before the project documents are done, what the project's responsibilities are. And these are the forms that have to be filled out, and also what we want is someone that can look at the policy and tell us what we should, how often we want the payrolls, exactly what we want. And
Right.
come back to us and tell us how
Yeah.
they're gonna do it.
So they
Let
don't
them-
wind up
let
being in
them
compliance
do
one
the-
week out of every 6 months.
Right.
So,
well,
so
that-
basically, for instance, with just for example, Ace Endico, they would call upon them randomly to check their payroll figures
Right.
quarterly or
Right.
biannually.
Or if there is a complaint, they can investigate a complaint if, like Terry said, they could come in quarterly to review the documents. They could spot check, we could require them to spot check a job without notice to make sure they count heads. And if the company has 40 workers on site, that they have a logbook with 40 workers, and they have the backup documents proving that all 40 workers vet to the I-9 standard that is law.
And
Yeah,
all the
not
signs.
necessarily on the build of the project, but on the continuation of the pilot agreement.
Post-project,
Okay.
they would go,
That's good to know.
Ace Indico is up and operating.
Yep.
Ace Indico would report to the compliance officer that
That's good.
they've
Yep.
created 25 jobs, you
Sure.
know, and they told us they're creating 20 jobs, they're 5 jobs over
Yeah,
compliance, right?
or clip off
And-
10 of those 20 jobs.
Right, and if they're
Apples and
under, they
pears.
can explain to why, if there's a
Yeah.
hiring shortage, so.
And then, under the program, the cost of that is paid by the owner.
By the owner,
So it behooves,
by the project owner, so.
Yeah.
We don't have to
It's
foot the
built,
bill.
it's built into our lease agreement that
Right.
they will pay a fee to us that will cover that
Okay.
that
Right.
expense.
So they're paying us, we're selecting the firm,
Hmm.
and then that way there's no, you know,
They're not paying directly because
Who's
they're
been
The
checking
the
out?
inspector's working for the IDA, not for the.
Who's been checking up on these guys in the past couple of years? Is that
to date, nobody.
To
This is our first year with the valid labor policy.
something? Right, okay, got
So
it.
now we had some, we had to make sure that there was no conflict of interest with board members checking projects, and there is none
Good.
because we can't suffer profit and loss, and we don't have anything to do with the contracting. Our only obligation as board members is to make sure that they're in compliance. If they're not in compliance, we report it to the chair. The chair sends them a letter asking to get in compliance. They call us when they're in compliance, and we verify that they're in compliance. And then we'll have an outside firm to do that work for most of us because we're, again, a volunteer board.
You're good, yep. Yeah, and we would want to be comparable to a smaller county in, so we're ranked 55th, is it, in the state out of 64 counties? So we should make sure that when these quotes do come in, that we line up with a smaller county, not say Dutchess County, that's pretty large.
Right.
well, the large upstate counties are doing this too.
Pardon?
The large upstate counties do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, as
That's
far as when the
Right,
person.
well, there's gonna be there's gonna be an RFP, and then, you know, there's a difference between a $10 million job and a $30 million job on how many audit compliance you're gonna go to, so that,
Okay.
so they're gonna have to, I guess that's part of the RFP process, Jerry,
Yeah.
that will,
Well, upstate, they look at Canadians
right.
coming into the state, because there's all kinds of requirements on there. So everything is very good, you know.
Yeah, the requirements are varied depending on where you are.
Well, again, they do it because, again.
But for us, it's they have to quantify where they live, they have to prove where they live, they have to have X percent of them from Putnam County, X percent of them from Hudson Valley, X percent of from
Right.
the surrounding region, and they have.
That's on the bill though,
it-
not on the,
Huh?
that's.
No, that's on the bill, that's on
Yeah.
the construction portion of it,
Yeah.
but permanent, we're looking for permanent jobs for, you
Yeah.
know, that assists the economic growth in the
Yeah.
region.
No, as far as the compliance, companies quote or whatever, just, concerned that we don't get overquoted, that's all.
Right.
We're putting out an RFP for the quote or just for somebody who could do the jobs?
Well, they have to,
It'll vary,
well,
right?
a request for proposal for.
To do the job.
Hopefully we get
Job,
three,
right.
right.
Okay.
We'll hope, and hopefully if we get 3 or 4 quotes, we can cipher where we need to be.
Right, but if we're doing something that's a $10 million job, then something, a smaller job that's gonna.
Well, there
require
might be a
work.
varying scale depending
Okay,
on the
so-
size of the project.
Yeah,
But they
so-
would probably quote us on the size of the project versus, all right, this is what we're gonna.
We'll do like we do with the accountants, we'll do what do you think, Terry, a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract?
I would only go for as long as these projects, because we don't know.
Because we don't wanna go through an RFP project for each year.
No, but once they're there, we can renew. You can write in a contract that it's renewable based on
These
us on the board.
I'd be interested to know what other counties are paying,
Right.
something like that, to compare, so we know what our baseline is as
Right.
far as a quote goes, acceptable quote, that's fine. Like,
Yeah, well, Sullivan County has an active IDA, could probably get that number, possibly Ulster County. Their
Little
IDA
bit.
might be
They might have.
similar,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
if they have a compliance person, right? It's kind of an emerging, field.
Field, yeah.
Yeah, it's a new field, so but honestly, if a contractor's in compliance, if Abby was running the show, I'm sure everything would be right in order, and they'd have a file for
Yeah.
workers, they'd have a logbook for the workers, they'd have everything where they live, and it'd be right there. So, in compliance auditor goes in, he counts heads, he can spot check a worker to see where they actually live,
Yep.
and everything's in compliance. It's an easy gig if the contractor's in
Yeah,
compliance.
yeah, he's been,
Right.
but it's also.
And that's our goal. We don't want people,
Sure.
We want them all in compliance.
Yeah.
And also, the project can have discussions with their contract.
Right,
But again, this is ongoing for the
Life of our
right.
involvement.
pilot.
Part of the
Right.
pilot, they have to
Meaning, for
report.
instance, Brewster Industrial, they're gonna, if we hire somebody to do this, they're gonna
Be there
checked
if they get a
upon
15,
regularly.
if they get a 15-year pilot, it's a 15-year.
Yeah, they're gonna be checked on regularly, but then if they get a 20-year pilot, these compliance officers gonna be checking on them every year or a couple times a year or something like that.
Right.
Then
Right.
they have the jobs they say they're created. Okay, that's important.
Correct.
Good, very good.
Well, you said you wanted to review it and maybe make some changes, so you should be doing that.
Well, we just have to, I have to take a look at it.
Remember that we had a $5 million, you had 15 and then they lowered it to 5.
Correct.
Think about that, what you want to do about
Well, no, I think the $5 million threshold is more than reasonable.
it. It helps
That-
our smaller
It
projects.
helps on a smaller, it helps put compliance on a smaller project. The compliant in requiring a worker to be lawful in an area resident is what this IDA is about. It's about creating local jobs, local economy.
Yeah.
There's nothing that is cost prohibitive for them to do this.
We're just asking them to do the right thing.
Right, exactly, and the quicker they're in compliance, the less it costs. But I want to review, make sure we have the right funding language in there. I want to take a look at some of the other stuff, and we can compare it to some of the other counties that have it, so that we're in line. So,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I think
So we need to make a motion for that or anything? Or?
no, I don't think we need to make a motion. We'll have
we
to
just,
adopt it.
we have to go
Oh,
ahead and
motion
put
for
it.
the RFP.
Oh,
Yeah. A motion to put together an RFP
Right.
for.
Is that a motion or because I seconded it?
Well, yeah.
I'll write the motion.
All right.
We're on record.
Hey,
here.
where are we gonna post that?
That's a good.
Well, we're gonna start getting some names. I'm gonna really,
Right.
who in the county, DPW or whatever would know some of the
Actually,
local
John Tully
engineers.
is the new purchasing
Right.
director. He would probably be
Right.
quite familiar with
And
that.
I sent you over the guy from Westchester that's currently doing it.
I think he did, so
A while ago.
yeah,
I'll take a look at that again.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of EDC IDA magazine that comes out that we could, for instance, put a...
This
put
is
a
the
little
kind
ad?
of stuff that the Putnam or the New York State EDC is doing better now. That's a good term. Much better now than it has in the past, because an IDA has become such an integral part in economic development now, and that's why they're such, a good
Maybe
proponent
there's
of
a,
this.
maybe there's a little jobs corner on their website or something, or
There's segments of their website that have it. You can look up NYS EDC.
do we advertise this position?
Yeah,
there?
we're members of their organization.
What,
And,
what's the site where they put all public RFPs, like for construction or?
BidNet or the OGS website. I'm trying to think I know what you're talking about. Excuse me?
Bid links?
BidLinks? No. but we can find a source, I mean, we can find a source for that. Business cards for board members that would like them, Bill, would that be possible?
Sure. Anybody that wants one, send me your name, rank, and serial number. I don't have one handy on me, but
Yeah, we can email it to you.
yeah. But basically, we've got one that we use already. I use it. Now Ed's going to use it. You can use the same format, or
Well, yeah, we could use whatever format. Do you want to get a local vendor to produce them, or?
yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, they have these small shops that do that.
Huh?
Yeah.
They do
Okay.
letterhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, local people. You probably talk to your chambers.
Well, I would probably go with Excel printing because
Well, whatever's convenient.
he's right
Yeah,
there.
TC Graphics, Excel Printing,
Yeah.
there's a few of them around.
If you have the card, and we can send you the info, and then we can all work together and go to one of those.
Well, yeah, we'll buy 300 cards a person or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever an economic run.
Excuse me?
Get wholesale.
You get wholesale, all right.
Right. Right here and so.
Okay, perfect.
So,
So that's,
And we have
Well-
we don't get charged sales tax. We have that form.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't get charged sales tax anyway.
it's
Do
an
you have
operational thing,
sales?
so we don't need to get bids on it. It's just an operational expense.
Part of the.
okay,
Good.
put that in the minutes. Okay, having done all that,
Should we vote on that? A motion to get business cards? I make a motion that we get business cards for the IDA.
okay, I second it. All in favor?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, seconded? Okay, all in favor? Let's get out of here, folks. Good. You got good notes?
Yeah, that's an old picture.
Okay,
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
thought it
she's
was